Then in terms of a social cost, drugs are a critical catalyst in the disintegration of family systems, of friendship, of social capital. So they come at that cost where an individual cannot now effectively and efficiently contribute in a productive way to the social fabric that is there. Rather, they actually create very massive strain around the family, around the school system, around even the workspace, because of the social inability for social adaptation for individuals that are under drugs. And when you look at the youth dividend, which is where most of our drugs are being pushed to, there is an intention why drugs are pushed to the youth. Number one, when you are growing up into a young adult or a teenager, that's an huge experimentation period in terms of your age. You want to try out a few things. You are not yet sure which is what, and there are truths that you may need to check for yourself if they're there or not. So that inclinations toward experimentation makes the youth very, very conducive as a target group to push drugs. It's easier to convince someone who is still finding, exploring the world, exploring life, to also try something new called drugs, than to have someone who is already, grown and has got a defense mechanism because they are aware of some of the negative issues. So for our youths, when drugs are pushed towards you, the intention is there is a diminished capacity for appreciation of the complete array of the effects of drugs, number one. And number two, they're simply taking advantage of your inclination towards exploring life. And that's why drugs are pushed more towards the youth dividend, because they are easy to manipulate, and which means we need to have our guard up against this force. And then the youths are the greater share of any country. If you look at our world statistics, any country, the youth have got the greater share of the human or demographic dividend. So once you push your drugs to the youth, for the drug market players, they are bound to get more money because there's more youth than any other age group. Then secondly, as a country, you incur the greatest cost when you have your drugs pushed to the youth, because they rob you of the future players. We now have less people that are able to partake in economic activity, that are able to productively contribute to national strategic goals. So drugs come at a huge cost even for a country. Then imagine a scenario where we have spent resources looking after someone, sending them to school for 10 years, only to spend even more in the next 2 years trying to rehabilitate them and getting them off drugs. This reflects how critical the issue of drugs has become because of some of these issues that are associated with it.